How to communicate the why clearly in your brand. Let me make it very simple. It comes down to this. All you're doing is telling people why the heck you're doing what you're doing in your business. And this is the best way to do it. Hi, I'm Darren Monroe. I have 30 years marketing, branding experience. I used to work for Universal DreamWorks, MCA, iHeartMedia, and do marketing for Jay-Z, Eminem, Limp Bizkit, Nelly Furtado, and The Roots here in the Chicago market. These days, I help you stand out from 100% of your competition so that you become a badass emotional brand and get paid. How about that? So what I want you to do is, beyond subscribing here, you definitely subscribe because this is my new channel. I want you to understand the method this is going to work. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Well, one of the coolest things that I discovered is, and I'll tell you my why. It came to a story, a short story. It came down to this. Last job I ever worked was 20 years ago, August 2005. And I was working at iHeartMedia in New Orleans. A hurricane called Katrina was coming. This Chicago guy knew nothing about hurricanes, and I'm allergic to dying, so I ended up in Texas, and I started launching online websites from a FIBA paid-for hotel. But I had to do something to stand out because I couldn't compete. I didn't have big budgets against the big guys. And I discovered that the more and more business I got was based upon, even the organic, didn't have a lot of big ad money or none of that. The biggest thing I got, the biggest thing that kicked and blew me up was the fact that I could tell people original stories and talk. And yeah, I'm an extrovert, but even as an introvert, you can do it. Look up Brian Tracy. It's great. He talks slightly like this and quiet. You know, think about Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Really quiet guy, real quiet. Seriously, you don't have to be an extrovert to pull this off. You just have to tell people why you're doing it. See, we knew Mr. Rogers cared because they knew why. They knew why. People don't care what you know until they know that you care. I care about this because I learned this and I realized I could teach people around the world. I've taught millionaires. I've taught people who've become millionaires. Over 100,000 products, programs, and services across 100 plus countries in the last 20 years. People from every background. And I swear to you, everything that I'm telling you right now, you share your why, somebody's going to resonate. Not everybody, but somebody. Besides, you want somebody versus everybody because we're not in the everybody business. Just like Louis Vuitton, just like Rolls Royce. But it's not just the luxury places. It's certain things that are your thing and no one else's. Think of Comic-Con. Not everybody likes Comic-Con. You got to be into it. Not everybody's into Star Trek, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. If you're part of that tribe, you're part of that tribe. What you got to do is tell people why you're doing this. Because if you're just trying to get some money, you're not going to make it. You got to tell people why. I do this because I love it. I talk about it. I've trained people around the world on it. And I absolutely wholeheartedly speak from the heart on it, as you can tell. But for you, what is it that you're selling and offering that has a why connected to it? There's also an internal why on why you're doing what you're doing, because when you do these things of passion, there's not always money involved. There's plenty of times I didn't make a cent, but I loved it and I went out and helped people. I saw somebody who was great online. I love what they do and I sent them that. But I have incredible amounts of value. I share that. I shared that, just like I have tons of content here. And I know you already subscribed, right? Because I have an incredible amount of content and tons of value. Because I know what the hell I'm talking about, not because of the big companies, but because I know my stuff. If you haven't figured that out by now, maybe you shouldn't subscribe. But the idea is, hopefully I've earned your subscription because I talk from a sense of passion, not just because I'm extroverted and I talk. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm real. I'm giving you the real stuff. You should binge watch every piece, every one of my videos. Binge watch them like a motherfucker. Binge watch them. It'll make a difference in your life. I'm really good at what I do, and I make a difference in people's lives. And I know that this is why I'm here, or at least one of those reasons. And I encourage you to be part of that too.